The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
You are at the last segment of the Durian Heat. Welcome back, I'm Grace Jo. And of course, I've been speaking with Anthony Tan, who is the Executive Director of SEDEM, Center for Environment, Technology and Development Malaysia, as well as Sunitha Bisan, who is a Chair, Environment and Climate Change Commission National Council of Women's Organization, NCWO, and also a founder of Panita Jaya.
I usually begin all my talks with a short introduction of what is a steward, Khalifa, trustee. Khalifa is just the Arabic word for steward and a trustee. And what is basically a Khalifa or steward or trustee? The person doesn't own the property or the wealth. The person manages, and he or she manages under the guidance of others. Yeah. So I was asked a question during this HAZE forum in UKM. What would be your suggestion on how to solve the HAZE problem? So my simple answer was, if everybody were to take themselves as a Khalifa, nobody would chop down a tree and burn it. Pin drop silence in the hall because everybody was like. Then the moderator said, looks like we don't have to continue with the question already. But that's the reality. If everyone took the position of being a Khalifa or a steward, you look at the 17 SDGs, number 17 is a given already. Everybody has to work together. Nobody works in a silo mentality anymore. But the reality is, to break down those walls of the silo is the first thing that we need to do.
Yes, I agree with Anthony. Breaking the silos is extremely important. And one of the ways forward, and that's where, although we work on different areas, like for me, I work on gender mainstreaming. That's where gender methodologies and to promote gender sensitivity and responsiveness within our governance structure is very important, because it unpeels, it unpegs all those bottlenecks. It breaks away, it breaks the silos, and it reduces the fragmentation. Because most of the time, all of us actually, if you look at all the countries, we have women's ministry, we have this, we have that.
That's very true.
But at the end of the day, you find that there's still very much huge gaps still exist in terms of gender responsive governance. And it includes environmental responsiveness also, because when you don't take matters and analyze it incomplete, completely you analyze it, you will not be able to make an informed decision. And that is the most important thing. And at this day and age, I always tell, every time when we get invited to speak, or people ask questions, as if, at this time and age, we really have all the technology in the world, all the studies, all the modeling abilities, your climate modeling abilities, we all know. And yet, we can turn around and say, we cannot make decisions. That is proper. That's silly. That's not using what you have. And that's, again, you're not using the technology that you have to make proper decision. And it impacts people. And I also recently completed a study on the nexus of climate change and sexual and reproductive health. And this is also part of a 7-country study within the Asia-Pacific region. And we found that how much communities have to suffer because of poor environmental governance.
Right.
And especially women and children at the ground level. And these are very critical. And when you talk about sustainable development goals, like I say, if you still have so many millions, over 800 million people still struggle to put food on the table, what are you talking about sustainable development goals? And if we are really committed, we must take good action.
So what they really, really worry about is what they need to put at the table first.
Yes. Yeah. They can't eat. They don't have food to eat. Then what do they do? Those are things that's very critical. And a lot of it got to do, like what Anthony was saying, all those goals that they come, if you take all those goals and you tick them up like a checkbox, those checklists that you do, and you find it whenever you go to a particular area, and you see whether environmental, whether water has been managed properly, whether the ecosystem has been managed properly, whether you have partnership. When you look at that and you find that lots of those boxes are not ticked, you find those communities are most vulnerable for climate events. The community who suffer and are unable to cope, unable to build their resilience due to climate events.
Right.
And what we are doing is our development process is creating a whole new dynamic to our human existence. We have areas that we can no longer cultivate because we have no water. The whole SDG requires a holistic measure. And the second message is that we do have the technologies.
Yep.
We just have to sit down and use it, basically.
Sure.
2 equations which came out from a project we did with 5 secondary schools. Okay, these are kids below 17.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and this is what we extracted from that project. Awareness plus action equals savings. Awareness minus actions equals wastefulness.
True. Right.
2 very simple equations, but it actually answers a lot of questions as to why are we having problems. People know the problem, they know the solution, but they are not willing to take the actions to come towards the solution.
So at the end of it, they just become another silos.
Yeah, it is most important for the person on the street to understand what the SDG is, what is required for the SDG to become a reality, and to what to do. Very often it's this thing about somebody will do it, but in the end nobody does it. So I would like to encourage the listeners to use the word I in the place of you. I will make a difference. I often ask people, how many t-shirts do you have in your cupboard? and if you have more than 10, something's wrong, because it's not easy to take the t-shirt out. So it's simple things like that actually make changes in your life. Make things easy and simple. Don't complicate matters by, as what Sunitha was saying, looking at numbers and whatnot. The proof is in what? The pudding.
Yes.
And the eating, yeah. So basically that. Find out about it. Don't be blur about if somebody says what's SDG and I don't know. Does it affect you? I don't know. Learn about it, understand about it, and take action.
Right.
Each one of us need to believe. Believe that you have the power to make those changes. Believe that you are making those changes. Embrace that environmental stewardship qualities. Change your lifestyles. You can do it. I know it's not easy when I'm struggling, but if you believe that you have a right to live on this planet and you have a right to live a happy and healthy life, so does the planet. So you cannot have a happy and healthy life if the planet is crying,
Suffering.
and in pain. So if you are happy, then share that happiness with your planet. That's what I would like to say to people.
Thank you for tuning into Drian ASEAN. I'm Grace Cho. For more interviews by Drian ASEAN, please tune into our website at drianasean.com. If you're on the go, you can always download our TuneIn app on your mobile. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels at Drian ASEAN and Drian ASEAN TV. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. We always welcome feedbacks from our listeners. Stay tuned with the Durian Heat from Tuesday to Thursday every week, the same time at 1 p.m. GMT plus 8. Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.